Hey everyone, I'm 14k MMR support player, and in this video I'll be going over my own replay and share with you guys what am I thinking while playing and how do I make my decisions in the game. I've tried to keep the concepts as simple as possible so you can apply this into your games. So as soon as the game starts, the first thing that I think about is who am I laning against. It's either Morta carry Magnus position 4 or Morta position 4 Magnus carry. This is the information that I have, and other than that I have Lich in my lane. So against Lich, I like to start with a magic stick because it's gonna be spamming a lot of spells, which is gonna give me stick charges that I can use to get more health and mana regen resource.
Are you P4 or P?
I am position 4.
Yeah.
So first thing that I have to think about is itemizations. Of course, I'm going against Lich, so I went for the magic stick. Otherwise, I can go for some stats items like, circular or anything like that, if I'm not going for magic stick. On bounty rune fights, you have to see what is it that your hero can do best. My hero can stay behind and deal damage with spells. If I am playing some ogre who has a lot of armor, a lot of HP, I can run in. If I'm playing clockwork, I will run and use my spells. If I'm playing bounty hunter, I will just go invisible, fight with the enemy for a while because I have 8 armor to start with. But right now I am playing Zeus. So heroes like Zeus, Lich, Shaman, you're just supposed to play behind. So even if there's going to be a fight on bounty rune or any fight, you just have to stay behind. That's your job. You have to understand the nature of your hero. How to decide whether you want to fight for bounty runes or not? You can just get a rough idea whether we have more damage or the enemy team has more damage. If your damage is equal, then it's like really 50-50. But generally when you look at the draft, you get the idea. Okay. When the laning stage starts, first thing you have to understand is, am I stronger than enemy position 5? If the answer in your head is yes, you will play on the same side as position 5, beat the shit out of him in the lane. If your 1v1 is weak against position 5, you're just gonna play on the opposite side. Like if he's playing on the left side, over here, you will play on the right. If he plays on the right, you play on the left. But in this case, I think Zeus is stronger than Lich in 1 versus 1. So any trade I'm gonna get with him, I'm gonna take it. So yeah, when he went in tower, I just stopped fighting with him, because I know it's useless. Now this range creep, right? You don't want the enemy to deny your range creep. If your offlaner cannot secure the range creep and you have an ability that you can use to secure range creep, always secure it. If they deny it, you will not get level 2 and they will get level 2 faster. So securing range creep is really important. There's another thing, range creep is always very behind in the lane. So if your offlaner goes to right click range creep, there is a chance that enemy can zone him out and take a lot of his HP down. So if your hero can and your offlaner cannot, then you should secure range creep with your spells. It's like how Lich is also securing range creep, right? Here's the problem that I need to understand. So now, I was stronger than Lich till we were both level 1. Now Lich is level 2 and I'm level 1. It automatically makes Lich stronger than me. Right? He has 2 spells. So when he's level 2 and I'm level 1, I cannot play on the same side as him because he is stronger than me. Which I am not understanding, and I'm making the same mistake. I keep playing on the right side. The Magnus gets 2 as well, and then they just go on me. So what do we get? If you are strong, play on the same side. If you are weak, play on the opposite side. Because I want the enemy team to start the fight on Dawnbreaker. Every time they're gonna start the fight on Dawnbreaker, I will get free chance to hit them, right? Or deal damage to them. And Dawnbreaker is of course gonna take a lot of time to die. Now I died, and because of me, Dawnbreaker also fed. It's all my fault. What was the mistake? I wasn't playing on the right side. I wasn't respecting their level 2. So getting level 2 first in the lane has a lot of advantages. That is why we should always try to secure creeps as much as we can, try to deny creeps if we can as a support, and then if you want to trade with the enemy you can do that. But if there are creeps in deny or securing HP range, you should always focus on creeps first. Lotus is coming on 3 minutes. Your next objective, like your basically first objective is to win the blocking of the camps. Second objective is to secure Lotus. Now Lotus is insanely important because it gives you instant 125 HP plus mana restore. There are two ways to secure Lotus. One, you push out the lane towards enemy's side so they cannot come over there and secure it. Second is, before Lotus is spawning, you just deal so much damage to the enemy, like basically use all your spells on them that they're super low that they're scared to come and fight for the Lotus. In this case, the lane was already pushed, so we didn't need to do anything.
It's a good play by the Magnus.
Yeah. So now, you see, how did it go well for us? We'll see that as well. How did Dawnbreaker live? She had a Lotus. If she didn't have a Lotus, this was like really shitty for us. I mean, they have a really shitty combo as well. They skewer, they pull in tower and all of that. But then again, Lotus saved her. And also baited them. So one objective that we secured in the lane, it helped us get double kill on Zeus. And got a lot of XP. So the lane which we were initially losing because I messed up, now we're winning. Okay, after Lotus, your objective is you have to keep the small camp blocked and big camp unblocked. This is like the ideal situation where you block the small camp and unblock the big camp. If small is unblocked and big is also unblocked, that is also fine for you. That is actually good for you. But if big is blocked and small is unblocked, that is really bad for a position 4 and position 3. Because an enemy team can keep pulling small camp and they will just win the laning stage from there. What happens when you don't block the small camp? If small camp is open and big camp is blocked, enemy will keep half pulling small camp. The wave will always be closer to their tower. When the wave is gonna be closer to their tower, your pause 5 cannot use gates and gank them. Your mid laner cannot really, dive tower, because if mid laner dives tower, or even if you dive tower, enemy mid laner can TP over here, right? This happens many times. That when you're diving tower, they just teleport and the fire turns around. But if you have big camp open, you can pull it, bring wave closer to your tower, then your pause 5 can use gates. Your mid laner can TP and gank. Your mid laner can take power rune and gank. There's a lot of things that you can do. And also, when you pull big camp and your wave is over here, there is a chance that enemy pause 5, he randomly walks over here to secure the creep or take experience and ends up feeding. Similarly, enemy carry can also walk here and they can end up feeding because this is a really dangerous spot for the Dire. Going from here to tower is kind of hard because of this curve, this whatever this is. They can't really run straight. So blocking camps and unblocking camps are super important to keep in mind. After Lotus, you can just keep the wave towards your side by pulling hard camp. I mean, if you haven't unblocked the hard camp by 4 minutes, 3 minutes, then it's really you're doing something wrong. So over here, the enemy managed to pull because the wave was over here towards our side, but we don't care about it because we are stronger than them now and we can farm this. But here the Lich also messed up. He pulled, but see how they're getting out of position, right? This Magnus is super out of position. If we start fighting him over here, they can't bring us to their tower and we can easily punish them as well. Why? Because he's playing around the hard camp, and this hard camp is a very good position for Radiant. It's 5 minutes. What's the next objective? So the next objective is to play for power runes. Mid laners that have bottle, it's really important to give them power runes as a support. And support should be there around them to help them secure power rune.
Ring of Bacillus or Boot is better.
It's very situational. In this lane, I know they cannot kill me because I'm gonna stay in a good position, so I went for Ring of Bacillus so that I can always have mana regen. But you can go for boots first as well. It's your choice. I would say boots are much better because then you can run around the map as well. So getting Ring of Basti over here is a bad buy actually. I should get boots so I can run around the map easily to, you know, go for wisdom, go for camps, go for power rune and all of that. So yes, boots should be your priority. And one more thing that I want to point out over here. The value of regen resources. So if I stay in this lane with this HP and this mana, I'm gonna be useless. So understanding that you need mana and regen resources in the lane is really important. Now look at my HP, right? But I use my Courier to get raindrops and healing salve. Of course, raindrops is gonna help me fight them because of their spells, and it's also giving me mana regen. So in a way, if I don't even have a clarity, it's fine. I'm gonna get mana regen from these two items. That's also decent. And then HP with healing salve. If I don't have healing salve, I can't really pressure them in the lane. But because of this healing salve, I can actually go and fight them. Now I have full HP, which leads to a free kill on Lich. If I am low HP, I'm gonna be scared to play there because then they can use 2 of their spells and I'm just gonna die. So focusing on regen resources is really important. I should have a clarity over here now. Using Courier properly is really important. So I used my Courier and let's see what's coming in it. I have a clarity with me. Also have wards. Kind of late wards, but still I do have them. When you go for power rune, you should have wards with yourself so you can place ward and then see how can you fight around this, because you don't want to go to power rune and feed. Having vision of the rune where you want to fight is very important. And then even if enemy mid laner wants to gank you, there are 2 ways they can gank you. Either they just walk through the rune side or the TP. So if you just place vision power inside, it's gonna be really hard for the enemy mid laner to gank you because you can just look at him and just dodge him. Okay, I have no mana. Going for power rune is gonna be really useless for me because I can't really do anything there. So instead I'm not going for power rune because I'm useless. Puck is going for bottom rune because she has ward there. She can easily take it. If I go for top rune, Invoker will just solo kill me. And all because I have no mana. And I got late because I was fighting in the lane as well. So if you're getting kills in the lane, it's fine as well. But if you have nothing to do, going for power runes is very important. Now I have to place this vision on the rotation of Invoker. So in this case, I've placed a sentry along with Observer. Usually I just place Observer. Why? Because if Invoker wants to gank, he will use Ghost Walk to gank. So if there is no sentry, we will not know if he's coming or not. After power runes, after placing vision, what's next? The next objective is Wisdom Rune. Now just TPing bottom because there's nothing to offer in top lane, right? Dawn is just hitting tower. Magnus has died after TPing. Vano ganked, really good. Invoker farming mid. There's nothing I can do over here, right? We don't really have enough damage to kill this Invoker because he has raindrops and stick charges as well. So me and Puck, we don't really deal enough damage to kill him at the moment. So what's next? If I can gank somewhere else in the lane, I can do that. Okay, what can I do next from here? We have to think. So top lane, we have taken the tower already. Let's look at everybody. Vano, ultimate cooldown. Tiny, super low health, farming. Okay, we cannot do anything with him. Dawnbreaker, we don't really have to do anything with her. She can join the fight with ultimate, so we're good. Puck really needs this item to do something. So we're just sitting, we don't want to force anything, we're just farming. Puck is farming, everybody's farming, so we're good. In this case, you can take mid lane, take levels. If mid lane is not free, it's occupied with some hero, you can take some free lane when there's nothing to do on the map. Or you can stack. It's really important to figure out the heroes that you have to play with. Like, how do we decide which hero do we have to play with? Now, I will just give you example from this game. Puck, I can play with her because she has coil, right? I can smoke her to some other lane. So having smoke with yourself always, like having one smoke is super important. I can ask this Puck to push mid lane, we can smoke and go to some other lane. Right now, Dawnbreaker has ultimate, Dawnbreaker can fight. Tiny of course cannot fight because we can look at his HP, he's super low. So we're gonna ignore this guy. Puck is ready to fight because she has coil. My hero does insane damage, I am ready to fight. Venomancer has ultimate, so he's also ready to fight. So what I can do is, I can play with Puck and Venom. Every game it's going to be different, but there will be somebody that you can play with. Let's say there's nobody that you can play with, or your team decides that we don't want to do anything. You can stack and farm. Stack jungle for your teammates and farm lanes yourself. Or if your teammates don't want to farm the stacks, you can farm the stacks yourself. Right now I know I can play with Veno, he has insane damage. So I am gonna smoke with him.
And where are you going?
Where are we going? So we can go to two places right now. If Magnus shows on top lane, we can smoke to that because it's safer and it's closer. If Magnus doesn't show, it's also fine. We can fight around this vision that we have. Basically, you have to fight around vision, or we can smoke and just fight around over here, like anywhere closer to our vision. It really depends on who do we see on the map. If we see Invoker mid, we can also smoke and go on Invoker. How? We have coil, we have Veno ulti, we have my insane damage, and then we have Dawnbreaker. So the fight is gonna be super easy. If we just burst one guy, others are gonna come one by one. The fight is gonna be super easy for us.
What if you're in this situation right now, like in the mid game, where it's kind of stagnant and no one's doing much, but let's say the enemy team has a very clearly better late game. They have like a Medusa or like a PA and a Spectre, and they're just farming and nothing's going on. Like, would you try and force things more, or would you just do the same thing?
It depends. If my teammates are listening to me, I would fight. I would go and fight with them. I will also see the timers of my own teammates and my own heroes. And if we have more resources than them right now, like do we have more damage than enemy hero right now? Can we fight right now? If yes, I would try to convince, but it doesn't really happen in every game. Sometimes people don't listen and they just want to hit creeps. In that case, now it depends. Is my hero good at farming or not? Zeus is very good at farming. So if my teammates decide we don't want to do anything, we just want to farm, I will buy my shard on 15 minutes, I will start farming as well. I will not steal their farm, I will farm some abandoned lane, I will always keep the lanes shoved towards the enemy's tower. And I will farm jungle, which my teammates are not farming. If I am playing a hero like Lich, I will read minimap. That is of course very important. Notice the movement of the enemy, how they are moving on the map. Think about how can enemy team play the game right now. What move can they make right now? Which lane are they playing right now? And then I will see which of my core is overcommitting. Where can enemy team gank right now? Like for example, Tiny decides he wants to farm triangle. So I will just start, and if I notice that enemy is kind of moving towards triangle, or they're planning a smoke. How do we know they're planning a smoke? Just click on this Lich, he has a smoke. Click on this Morta, he has a smoke. So enemy team can smoke, right?
Yep.
Because I can see their items. So yeah, If they have smoke, they can use smoke. So I will just play around Tiny as a lich. He's farming triangle, I will play around him, try to protect him. If enemy team ganks him, then for sure my teammates will react to it, because this is how Dota works. If there is a fight, everyone will TP and try to do something over there. Doesn't matter if it's good or not. So if I am a lich and my enemy team goes on my Tiny, I can, from fog, I can just use Frost Shield on him. The Frost Shield is basically going to reduce a lot of damage. Tiny is going to live longer. I can use my ultimate, which is of course going to create a mess in the fight, and then Dawnbreaker can use ultimate on Tiny and we can turn around. So basically a defensive hero like Lich or somebody who doesn't farm, I will just help my teammates farm and protect them.
Makes sense.
I will place defensive vision if enemy team is running down on us. Like right now, their draft is really strong as well. Visage likes to run down mid game. Lich, very active hero, have all the good spells. Invoker also loves to rotate, right? Morta, of course, you can, if your cores are running in, you can also run in. So their draft is also very strong. They also want to run into us. So whoever makes the first move is going to have the advantage. But did I answer your question though?
Yeah.
Okay. So your question was, where are we smoking? So we're basically smoking and see. So we saw Invoker mid, right? So we're just gonna go for him because we have coil as well and we have insane damage. But then again, if we did not have this smoke, this move would not be possible. So having one smoke with yourself is really important if you want to move on the map. Okay, now the fight is of course gonna start, so you have to focus on positioning of how I position myself in the fight. Not going to right click that guy, just using my spells from distance. My puck is dying, but I can't do anything about it, so I'm not running in and trying to, you know, do something crazy or some shit. Waiting for my spells to be up, keeping my distance, not going into the team fight, playing behind my team. So we see Magnus coming from behind. This is where we have to be careful about positioning. So right now I'm just focused on dodging the Magnus. With this, I can easily kite him. If he goes on me, I will just start running back. I don't want him to easily right click me in team fights. I don't want him to kill me easily in team fights or let him get close to me. You've noticed in the entire team fight, I have not once used my third spell because I'm saving it for a defensive purpose. If somehow enemy gets close to me, I can use third spell and run away. I don't have to use it aggressively. Because if my third is on cooldown, enemy can easily get close to me. So understanding when do you have to use your spell is really important as well. So in the entire fight, I did not take a single damage. Why? Because I just positioned myself behind my teammates. It's that simple. Okay, what's next? Now that fight is over, Dream Coil cooldown, Veno ulti cooldown, Dawnbreaker ulti cooldown. What do we do next? We can just chill a bit, go back and farm. We don't have to make any moves. So basically I'm just drawing, telling my team to farm side lanes. And it's closer to stack timing, so I can stack as well. Once you start thinking about what can we do with the heroes we have, the game gets a lot easier. Having a picture, a basically rough picture in your mind is really important. So we know when we have our ultimates, Dream Coil, then Solar Guardian from this guy, and then Veno ulti, we have good damage. We can take fights. But when our spells are on cooldown, we shouldn't fight. Because enemy team, their draft is also very aggressive style. They can also run down on us in the mid game. Which they did. Basically, Veno just running casually on the map and Visage just goes on him. Here's something I want to point out. So you will see I will not use my third spell at all in this fight. From distance, again using my spells, I could have jumped on this Visage, chased him and used my bolt after 4 seconds, right? But I know that if I used my jump once, I'm gonna be super easy to kill. it's really important to also understand what are the ways your hero can die easily. Can Morta kill me? I think not. If I position myself behind, Morta can never kill me. Can Visage kill me? Yes, if I'm running randomly on the map and I bump into Visage somewhere, he can just use his Q on me. Even if I use my jump, doesn't matter. He's gonna be super fast with his first spell. He can kill me, which means I just have to stay behind and not go front, so I don't run into Visage. Can Lich kill me? Again, no, because he's gonna be playing behind his team. I'm gonna be playing behind my team. Can Invoker kill me? Yes and no both. If my third spell is on cooldown, Invoker can always come out of Ghost Walk and kill me. If it's not on cooldown, if Invoker goes on me, I can always jump away. Same for Magnus. He can blink in on me, use Harpoon on me, but if I have my third spell, I will never die. Basically, you have to think of ways enemy team can kill you, and you don't have to put yourself in that scenario where you're easy to kill. Just farm when your spells are on cooldown. So Veno's ulti is up, Dawnbreaker's ulti is up as well. Coil is on cooldown, which we really need to catch enemy heroes. So we're just gonna farm. In every game, you have to decide which teammate complements your hero. Like for example, if you have a Crystal Maiden in your team as boss 5 and you're playing Pudge. So if I am Pudge, I would always want to play with CM. Why? Frostbite and hook combo, right? So you basically have to make combinations like this. Similarly, Veno can deal damage with Q and ultimate, and I can just stay behind him. When enemy heroes are slowed down with his spells, I can use my spells. So right now, what do we have? Everything except for Puck's ultimate, and then Puck doesn't really have mana, so yeah, we can just let Puck farm, wait for his blink. Blink is coming. With blink, the fights are gonna be easier for Puck. So you have to also look at the itemization of your teammates. We have good fight, they also have good fight, but fight is hard for Puck. She can go in, use coil, but how will she get out? Because they have this pull, tornado, silence from Morta, this. She can't really dodge everything, right? So with blink, she will have good positioning in fight. She can run in and out easily. So we're just waiting for Puck's blink. And the problem with this game is if we start taking bad fights, Visage scales really well because of the facet he has. He gets a lot of gold, and then he also make aura items, right? So when you have a lot of aura items and you're running down the enemy and they fight with you, it's not really good for the enemy team basically. We don't really have anybody who is having aura right now. This guy has Boots of Bearing, so yeah, pretty good for them. So yeah, Dawnbreaker was farming out of position. I try to see if I can do anything or not. It was a really bad TP from me, but after a bad TP, at least I didn't feed. So whenever you play support, try to focus on your number of deaths. Control them. Your hero is supposed to play behind. There is no way you can die in the games you play. The only time you're gonna die is either you get out of position in the laning stage, just like I did, or you start running front as a hero who's supposed to play behind. I don't get it. How can you die like 10 times, 15 times in your games when you're supposed to play behind your teammates? So even if your teammates die, you can always get out. Why did we take this fight? And why was it good? Because enemy team, they're showing Invoker mid, they're showing Magnus mid. I mean, he doesn't know we can see him, but we can see him, right? So basically we have information of 2 cores that cannot come into a team fight, and then they're running into our ward. So having this awareness of minimap is really important. This helps you decide whether you want to fight this or not, take a fight or not. So yeah, we smoked because Dawnbreaker result is coming in 2 seconds. Going top in hopes that we find Magnus. But before, when you smoke, make sure to keep the lanes pushed, because if the lanes are pushed towards your side and you're not showing on the map, it gives enemy the idea that enemy team is smoked. So this is also why shoving lanes is very important. Even if you're playing support and your hero can shove waves, please do that. So over here, we didn't really think about that enemy team can also smoke and kill Dawnbreaker. I mean, that was really bad of us that we did not predict it. And then I TP'd and killed Lich. Now, this is a very good move that I made. Now, what is gonna happen? When the enemy team is gonna see that I am standing here, the enemy team is instantly gonna react to me. The problem that I had in this move was I did not inform my teammates that what am I doing. Now, what I'm doing is very good. But what the problem is, I did not communicate it. So my teammates doesn't know what I'm thinking. They're all chilling mid. If they all TP'd with me, this would be super good for us. When the enemy goes on me, suddenly everybody realizes and they all TP. But then I could be the difference maker. I could have informed my teammate that this is what I'm doing, you need to help me. So that we are all on the same page. I ended up feeling and gave 1000 gold away, but my teammates win the fight. Not ideal, but could have been if I communicated. So communication is really important. 2 cores are dead, we can push out the lanes now. After pushing out the lanes, when they're about to respawn, we can just chill again because we don't really have 3 ultimates. Puck, Veno and Dawnbreaker. Around Wisdom Rune timings, what you can do is like 7 on 7 you're mostly taking your own wisdom. 14 and 21 wisdom or 28-minute wisdom, you can always smoke with your team and try to take a fight on the enemy wisdom. This can work a lot of times. You can kill them, get the wisdom, push out the lane, take tower. I mean, that's a move that you can always make in your games. Either you will get a free wisdom rune or you will get a lot of kills as well. We had spells available, team is fighting. Meanwhile, I have global presence, so I can just press my buttons. Okay, in this fight you will notice, we see that Invoker is bottom. Invoker can never join this fight. Because of that information, for the first time I used my jump aggressively. Because I know there is no Invoker and nobody can kill me. Then again, staying behind, not right clicking. My teammates are dead. I don't want to be a part of this feed. Can't do much, just run away. If your hero cannot save your allies, don't try to save your allies. Just run away, don't chain feed.
Why do you choose to buy offensive item rather than force staff first?
Okay, so the reason why I went for axe first is because I knew how the game is going. Mostly we were the one making aggressive moves on the enemy, not them. If the enemy Visage was running down on the map on us with Invoker, I would have made defensive items like Glimmer Cave first, you know, to stop their magical damage. They have insane magical damage. But because they were not moving on us, instead we were the one making the moves first. They never got a chance to run down on us. That is why I just went for the axe. Because I didn't really need Glimmer to save anybody. If the enemy is not being aggressive, why do I need a defensive item?
You know it by looking at draft or
No,
looking at
by how the enemy team is playing. In this game, getting Glimmer as first item was really important. But the problem is from the enemy side. They are not playing aggressive on us. So if they're not playing aggressive, why do I make defensive items?
okay.
Yeah, basically they, looking at their draft, they are supposed to play aggressive. They are supposed to run down. They're supposed to smoke and go on us. But they're not doing it. So if they're playing passive, I don't have to make defensive items. But I should have made Glimmer if the enemy played properly. If their supports were smoking them on the map and moving around, you know. They can make a huge mess in this game, but they're not doing anything. And before they can make any move, we are the ones who are always making the first move.
Yeah.
Now I went for 4 staff because my jump alone is not enough to save me. This guy has Rod of Arrows, Magnus, Harpoon. Like, there's a lot of things that they can do now. This guy has Orchid, so my jump is not gonna work if I get silenced, right? So I get 4 staff now. Now I have to make defensive items. So I do not die in the fight. Or I can help my teammates as well with 4 staff. So keeping an eye on what enemy team is doing, what items they're making is also important. Based on that, you can make your own itemization. You have to focus on what the problem is in the team fights. So right now the problem is gonna be the Orchid and the Mortas Atos. Puck doesn't have anything to dispel Orchid. Puck needs something for the Orchid. So if she doesn't have anything for Orchid, I can either use Glimmer Cape on her or use 4 staff. Okay, we saw Magnus farming top lane, so we're smoking to that, hoping we find him. So did you notice how I died? The only reason why I died was I lost track of my own hero looking at the enemy heroes. Not really decent positioning from me, basically. So every time I'm gonna die, it's going to be my own mistake. In the lane I died once because I was playing on the wrong side. I did not respect their level 2. Second time when I died, it was because I did not communicate with my team that what am I doing when I TP'd bottom. Third time I died because I wasn't even looking at my own hero. So every death is gonna be because of my own mistake. Right now they have Aegis, so we need to chill a bit. Need to take fight always in our vision. So, did what I could, used my spells from globally, and now I'm farming mid.
Why didn't you TP?
Because I knew, let me show you. Let's look at minimap. Visage is mid, okay?
Okay.
Morta is bottom. So I'm just helping him with the Morta. Now, Invoker showing top. I know Visage and Invoker can never be a part of this fight. Dawnbreaker is already helping this guy. I used my ultimate and I noticed, okay, even Lich cannot be a part of this fight and my teammates are TPing. Even if I TP, I cannot help this Puck. My hero doesn't do anything that can help this Puck. I cannot stun enemy. I cannot glimmer this guy. Yes, I can force stuff him, but then I'm gonna be in RP as well. So my hero can't really help. The only ones that can help are Dawnbreaker and Tiny. Or maybe Venom as well because he has aura items. If I TP, I'm just gonna ruin the cooldown for the other guys, you know? Yeah, basically I have nothing to offer even if I TP. I can only deal damage, I cannot save Puck. Here Puck messed up. His BKB is on cooldown and he just dies with Orchid. So what do we have to do? We have to not chain feed and get out. After the mid game, it's just that. The things that you have to focus on is how can I die in team fights? You basically have to avoid that. Do I need to go in or not? Of course, since I'm playing Zeus, I don't need to go in anywhere. If you're playing heroes like Clockwork, then you have to think about these things, whether is my team ready or not, can we take this fight or not. If you're playing a farming hero, always keeps the lane shoved to the enemy side. What does it do when the lanes are always pushed towards the enemy side? Then you can farm jungle and then enemy is only limited to farming the lanes that you have pushed. If let's say all the waves are pushed towards the enemy's tower, but not a single enemy hero is farming the wave, it gives you information that either enemy team is smoked or they're rushing. Shoving waves into enemy's tower is really important because it just gives you information of what the enemy team is doing. And then they have very less space to farm. Okay, this is a very common mistake that players make. So Invoker TP'd mid and Invoker is also showing mid, right? See, I pinged mid, right? Because I saw Invoker TPing mid. Now he's farming as well. So any hero that shows on the top side, we can easily kill. Because Invoker just TP'd mid and he cannot come. It automatically makes it 5 versus 4. So the mistake basically is when you TP back and your teammates are still there, you cannot show yourself in the other lane. Visage, we see him, we just know we have to take this fight because there is no Invoker.
Yeah, so really this point of the game, it's just like almost all completely just basing things off of where people are showing.
Yes, exactly. Now we just saw everybody using gates, right? Did you notice it or not?
No, I didn't. I was looking at something else. No, I didn't see it.
Okay, wait. So this Dawnbreaker thing showed that everybody's using gates.
Right. Yep.
I don't even have to look there, you know, I can just look at the minimap. So make reading minimap a habit of yours. It really helps you make decisions. It's gonna be hard initially, but it's gonna help you a lot. So now I know that they're using gates on bottom. What can they do with gates? Of course, go on Dawnbreaker. So I just TP'd behind her. And again, I'm not gonna reveal my position. I'm just hiding because I know this is what the enemy team is gonna do. We even scan. Mid game, late game, it's all about fighting in your vision, having information of the enemy by placing vision, reading minimap, having an idea of what the enemy team can do, how do you want to take team fights, what are the problems that you're gonna face in team fights, and how can you solve those problems. There are going to be problems that you can solve, there are going to be problems you cannot solve. So you only focus on the problems you can solve. I will give you an example from this game. The problem that we can face in this game is getting RP'd by Magnus. Can I help with that? I can.
A little bit.
If he doesn't have a BKB, I can help. Why? I have Euls. I have ultimate which I can use to disable his blink and then reveal my team that here Magnus is here, please be careful. Even then my team won't be careful, I know, then I have to focus on disabling his blink throughout the fight. Or I can just try to, time my Nimbus on his blink. Like anytime he blinks into a fight, I have to instantly drop a Nimbus over there. So the only problem we can have is Magnus RP. And these are the ways I can solve the problem for my team. Now it means I cannot randomly waste my Nimbus, I have to keep it for Magnus. I have to use my ultimate in team fight as soon as it starts to get the idea of where the Magnus is. Okay. RP used, let's see. Do you see where the fight is happening? Behind tier 2. So what my team is supposed to do, they're supposed to chill now and hit tier 2. Right? Fighting behind tier 2, it doesn't really make any sense. Even our spells are used, Dawn ulti used, my ultimate cooldown, Venom doesn't have mana, he cannot do anything, BKB used, so we need to chill now. So I notice that this is a fight I cannot be a part of. Can I go from here to Magnus? Because all my team is focused on Magnus. If I go from here, Invoker is gonna kill me, Visage is respawning. If I go from this side, Visage is gonna kill me. So I can never join this fight, right? But if I'm not thinking about it, I will definitely walk this path and end up feeding to this Visage. So this is a really bad fight that I shouldn't be a part of. What am I doing? Left the fight because I just cannot even join it. Now I'm gonna shove waves. So my team just randomly fed 2 cores. And if I were there, I would have fed as well. Even if you're playing core or support, whatever I told you, this thing applies to every single role. That you have to keep the waves shoved. You have to fight on the timers basically. When you're playing a hero, when you spam a hero a lot, you already know the timings of the hero, that this is when I'm strong, this is when I'm weak. When you're weak, don't fight with the enemy heroes. When you're strong, of course take the fight against the enemy heroes.
So how, like, I mean, this is just like the hardest part of the game for me in some respects, is like going high ground. How did you guys like determine that you could just go up high ground without Aegis and just steamroll them like this?
Let's see the positioning from everybody when we're going high ground. So you see, only put tiny front. Everybody is chilling behind.
Yeah.
If Magnus comes in, it's my job to stop him. So I stop the Magnus, Tiny also stops the Magnus. If something goes wrong, Dawnbreaker ultimate. You see, not everybody was hitting the tower. So basically, only heroes that can hit tower should hit tower. Supports should never hit tower. I mean, of course, you can only hit towers with support when all of the enemy heroes are dead.
Yeah.
Otherwise, supports should always hide and never reveal their position. Even right now, you see, I'm playing aggressive, I'm standing on their high ground, but I'm keeping my Eul because I'm basically baiting this Magnus to blink in so I can Eul him.
Can you use him before he presses his spells? Or are you relying on the precast?
No, not right now, not precast, but RP basically has huge animation, right? So
Yeah,
I can Eul him.
do it
Yeah.
before. Okay.
Even the skewer, if he blinks in and starts the skewer, I can Eul him as well.
But you probably couldn't do that with Axe, right? Like you couldn't like.
You have to be
couldn't
quick.
Get off.
You have to be quick.
Okay.
Yes, if you're very quick, you can do it.
Okay.
But for that, you have to be mentally prepared and have an idea where can this guy blink.
But if you're waiting for it, then you're probably going to be pretty quick, probably faster than him if he's not thinking about it.
Yes. Again, this guy blinks in, tries to skewer, and then I instantly bolt him. So that's the way I can control this Magnus in team fights. I hope this was helpful. If you guys have some Dota related questions, feel free to ask, or you can join my Discord linked in description and hit me there. I'll be happy to help. Before I wrap up, I want to share a quick note about Dota Academy, a private community I'm a part of with two amazing coaches, Pain, Dota and Sanity. We host 16 live classes a month, covering every role with all sessions recorded for members to watch anytime. The student with the highest game split each month wins a free coaching session from any coach of their choice. If you are serious about improving, check the link in description to join.